for my trading view stream so I can see myself. I see myself. What is going on, everyone? Sub trading view. What's up, world? Thank you for tuning into another chart mastery with myself, with Saber. As always, we're gonna start with the big ones. Start with BTC, then cover Ether, Litecoin, all the tickers you guys want. I want to thank you for joining last stream. It was fire. You talked about a couple of coins. One of them popped off like 13-14% today. If it wasn't for you guys on stream, I probably wouldn't have put it on my watch list. I wouldn't have longed it. I wouldn't have singled it in Discord. So thank you guys for contributing to the streams. Thank you guys for tuning into these streams. They're not the same without you, right? And I really love all the participation, all the energy we're getting. Smash that like button so I know you're in. And we're about to dive in. Did mess with my stream setup a little bit. I helped some friends of mine stream yesterday their event for their channel. Catching up on the YouTube comments real quick. All right, we're up and running. Both channels. Let's go. Let's dive in. Starting off with BTC. We had a synopsis, right? Like almost like a progression, day by day. You know, every other day we cover these charts and we see what they're doing, where they're headed. As of Monday's stream, right, I had 69.57 as our first target. We did see a minor pullback here, and that ended up resulting in what looks like a bull flag, right? And the chart's continuing. We did have some shorter term targets. Let's see if they line up, right? Where are these extensions coming up? They kind of strangle that, right? 69.57 is right in between 69.22 and 70.05. And I really think the next big push is going to be above, right? I think the next big push is playing the larger fib sequence. And if I go to the daily, maybe a 3-day chart, right, we're getting our longer term fibs, which is a shorter term. I do think, yeah, 74K, there's an overlap, right? 74, 74.9, there's an overlap of several of these extensions. I have not changed these extensions since before this correction, right? So we've been running this same set of fibs. They gave us the 64K top. So coming up, you know, we're going to run into some resistance at 69. If we push through, looking 74, 74.9. And then, you know, we'll probably run an extension off this correction to give us the next sequence of highs. I can do that right now. Just because really looking at BTC, for now, all we can do is look at like long-term objectives, long-term targets, until we see like a failed short-term 61.8, and I don't see one, right? But I think 674 should be significant resistance, right? I'm seeing 74 here, then maybe 87. You're more new traders to the market. They don't use these levels. They don't understand where breakouts fail, right? So everybody's looking at 87, which is a possibility, but I do think, you know, 74. We could see a minor pullback, right? And depending where that goes, it could be a buy opportunity too. Thoughts about Sol? We will check Sol. I don't have a position in Sol just because it feels like chasing at this point. It's something I would buy during a crash. I'll look at that shortly. You guys cover ETH. I'm gonna cover Litecoin too. I've covered Litecoin on every freaking stream just because I knew it was gonna come up, right? Like the timing of it. The technicals, it looked so good, and now we're seeing it run. I don't understand what keeps happening to my Ether fibs, right? I had this annotated chart, and it keeps going away. So we'll start from scratch. You guys get to see the process, how I do this, how I lay these magical lines, right? Looks like 49.60, right? That's our next target. And make sure these highs line up. It's kind of hard to do it on a 3-day chart, all those zoomed out. That's pretty close, right? So that's our next target. We can also run an extension off the swing that gives us the major run, right? So 49, 50K. This is what I had last time, right? So we're running up on that 49.60, right? That's the next target. 5K, not 50K, sorry. And then if we get it closes above, then we can start eyeing 57.93. So at this point, we just want to look for continuation. Joe, what's up, man? Joe on YouTube. Chilling with the wave. What's up? Childhood friend. I've known Joe probably the longest out of But Joe's known me the longest out of everybody. You guys on TradingView awfully quiet. Let's look at Litecoin. I mean, we leveraged this thing. It's up and running. It did breach the 61.8, right? And is it trapping? What's going on? So I want to start with Litecoin, and actually it did not breach. It's not getting the close above, right? So at this point, we probably want to, if we still have longs open, which we do, I definitely think looking at something like a minor 61.8, which is what we see here on like the 15, right? This thing's starting to fail. Doing a Litecoin hedge, right? So if we have, let's say, a Litecoin position open on leverage on one account, right? That's a long, that's up in these profits. We want to open up a short on another sub account of at least equal size, right? Because if this thing starts dropping, we're going to start losing We're going to start losing UPNL. So the best way to protect from that is opening a short on a sub account, right? Especially at this 61.8 level. I want to talk about that. Link is doing the same thing, right? So I think this is a good hedge attempt on Litecoin, right? Because if it does pull back after doing this big move, we can capitalize on some downside, right? And I think if it does pull back, a potential target, I'm not saying it's going to pull back, but being at a 61.8, it is very much likely to, right? I think you can back to 233, right? So if we catch a hedge down to here, if we catch a short down to 233 on Litecoin, and then take profit on that, right? And you still have your long open, you really didn't lose anything. You protected all this downside. You could go with like a heavier short than a long after this extended run, rejecting it at 61.8. That's also an option. And that way one doesn't only protect, but they make profits on the down run. All right. Delilah, I would rewind and like watch my BTC consensus before doing that. But I mean, in terms of taking profits, I'm gonna highlight where tokens are right now. And just show me your tokens, and we'll go over like the targets. They're extending, are they retracing, right? Something like Litecoin, it's going up, right? But if it was gonna reject anywhere, if it's soon at 61.8, it might be a good play to like trim down some of these bags or at least hedge them, right? Like have some kind of exit strategy or downside protection after a run up. I mean, this thing did extend like crazy in the last 3 days. These are daily candles. We're up 47%. It's freaking nuts, right? All right. Let me look at Sol. And then we'll look at some other charts. Let me look at the Binance Tether chart. Man. I like doing the Binance Tether chart just because it has most data, right? I want to be able to chart these things from like the beginning of time on some of the larger swings. And, it looks like 249's good. It's the last extension off this previous move. And whether or not Sol is respecting these fibs, you can decide for yourself if they turn, resistance turns into support, over here. And then if it's holding, so it's respecting them. If it doesn't if you don't see it close above 249, it could be due a micro correction. But if it does, then we have to use a different set of extensions. And I probably want to go with this one from this high to this low. And we're basically getting the same thing. We're also getting compliance, right? Here we see 120, right? Which is an extension of this range that I just fibbed, right? This range extension gives us 120, right? And we see price go up, and even like we see resistance and it closed below 183, then 159 acts as resistance, 120 support, right? And then once we got a break above 159, we started crushing these smaller targets on the way up. So I think 272 is the next one. If it goes to 272 and pulls back to 249, I'd probably want to long it, but I like long it on dips. You guys know I don't really like chasing these up candles. Ace you guys in Discord. All right. I'll go over your tokens shortly, Delilah. I want to cover Link. I said I was going to talk about Link because we do have Link open positions. It's also doing a 61.8. You guys see I have an alert here. And yeah, so it's doing a minor 61.8 just like Litecoin is. So we could see alt start pulling back at this point, right? At least these two. And if they keep pushing up, hey, you know what? We had a hedge in and the long still earning. We didn't go net short. We didn't go full blown. I'm not gonna say the word on stream. You guys in Discord know what I'm going for. We're not gonna do that, but we want to protect ourselves from a downside, right? Especially like a profit taking downside. Not saying we're going bear market, right? And just you can only take markets one pivot at a time. All right. Should be time for Link. It should, but look where it is, right? It says 61.8. It could do something like Litecoin did, like yesterday, last night. I think my closing thoughts in Discord were, because we saw that initial pullback, and I literally just did this. I put up this trend line. I'm like, hey, we're get 258 is going to be a retest of this trend line and a retest of the 50 fib. So if we close above this trend line and you got out of your long, you might want to relong at 258 for 294, right? So I'm just taking this one thing at a time. You guys on YouTube, thank you for all. I'm dual streaming for you guys on streaming, so I'm getting a bunch of tickers to look at. No more tickers until I ask for more, please. I feel like I'm behind. Giving me anxiety. All right. When you guys on trading, you start showing some love, man. Give me some tickers to look at over there. YouTube, you're in timeout. All right. Let's look at LRC. Man, somebody highlighted this on stream before this crazy run, and it was breaking the trend line, and now it's running, right? It's extending, it's running, it's above its previous high, at least on Coinbase. I don't like running these really far out, right? Like extensions. I'm gonna delete that. So currently holding above 303. We want to see that. You want to see that for your holding, right? I think at close above, then we can only expect continuation, probably like $5, right? That'd be the next target as long as it holds above 303. But like a good area to like trail some stops in case BTC runs and alts dip. I think we're past that phase now in the market where like most traders are not looking at their alt BTC value. They're mostly looking at their alt USD value. Unless I'm wrong, because we're seeing these violent movers, right? And this thing's like at an all-time high on a BTC pair. What about Binance? It's not quite, right? So I mean, we could see some profit taking in a BTC, right? We could see that. Let me just work on these swings one thing at a time. I think Loopring probably can run up a little higher in terms of BTC, right? So if it goes to that $5 mark, if it goes to 76.54, probably a good profit take. Like I was looking at LTC BTC, right, for a profit take, and it's doing a 61.8, like it just is. I think it's above the most recent one actually, which could signal a reversal, right? Actually, it's closing below, yeah, right. It wicked above, but until we get the close above, then we're not going to see that Litecoin BTC rally. EGLD. Geez, running wild. It's looking good. I think next target's 366, right? I think it's got to stay above 328. KDA. I'm just covering the Lala stickers from YouTube. Whoa, what a runner! That's awesome. Where'd you get in at this one at? Nice altcoin picks. Well, I'm not buying any of these this high, right? Like I want to look at things like Algo, which I'll cover next. 19. It's looking like it's going for 30, right? Just based on these extensions, I would look for 30. I'm gonna cover Algo, and then I'll come back to you guys' requests. You guys on on TradingView, man. Show some tickers. So looking at Algo, right? Our target 1 on this, we just ran because it was a 61.8. It's actually pushing above, right, which is 2.16. Then I ran some other targets in Discord, right? We extended this range. And we also extended the previous range. So we're kind of looking, I mean, if this thing is doing the channel, which it looks like it is, right? I think 2.7 is going to be the next target. And the only reason I'm in this trade is because somebody mentioned it on last stream. So whoever mentioned this, kudos to you. I really appreciate you. Everybody in Discord really appreciates you. So when I see this close above and a continuation, and there's also this last range you can extend. And if you're like, dude, but it's a lot of lines. I mean, it's just how the market works, right? So 2.25. You can even delete this one. I do think in the big picture, as long as we get that close above 2.16 to say objective, right? I think 2.7 is the next target. All goes on fire, man. Yeah, we got it. I signaled it at 7 a.m. this morning, and it's up 1,000% on leverage. Freaking amazing. I want to cover indices, and I'll come back to the rest of the altcoins. Because I did signal a short on stream on the S&P, right? Let's do ES, and that was Friday, and it's pulling back. And I also got in a short. I put that in Discord on Monday, on the QQQs, and we took some profit on that, right? So looking at ES futures, right? We're getting this close below. I mentioned this morning, like my morning update on the ES was, hey, we want to see what happens at this extension level. It's actually closing above now that I fixed it. So as long as if we get a close above 46.67, right, and a push up, like by the end of the day, I'm gonna want to close out my puts because I bought these puts up here, right, for like 140 SPXL. If this thing breaks down and continues, I'm just waiting for that close today at 46.67 to figure out how I'm going to handle it. As for the QQQ, right, we signaled QLD on Monday, and we took profit today on half. And with these guys, just because it wicked off 391 pretty good, the QQQ did, right? And that just tells me there's support here. And we did get in on the short, like at the failed 61.8, right? Right up here. So we got a good move down. Taking profit on something that's up like 80% is not bad, especially within 3 days, right? We can't stay short for too long. I'm keeping the S&P open just because, it's got time. It's an expensive call, and I think the risk return on it can be pretty good if we do dump some further. All right, I covered my indices. We got another index is the Russell, right? I sold out right at the top the other day, out of the calls, right? I did see this range extension, and we got out right literally at the top of the target, right at 2450 or equivalent on TNA, and then we saw that pullback develop. So I think we could see a little bit deeper of a pullback in stocks. I just didn't want to be full on short S&P and QQQ, right? So figured take profit on one. What's up, Montel? Man, how'd you find this stream? Sneaking up on me. My past is sneaking up. I got good friends from the past popping up on screen on YouTube. All right. Next up, I'm gonna cover AVAX and VET. And you guys show me some stocks too, right? Like stock market's not as volatile, not as fun right now, but it was. It could be if we had Tesla puts, right? Or even Tesla calls before the run up. AVAX is looking interesting. I wish I caught 19. I wish I caught this dip, right? I do think, and I want to cover XRP. I think XRP is poised to do what Litecoin just did. Somebody's got a squeaky belt in the neighborhood. I don't know if you guys hear it through the microphone. I hope you don't. It's like one of the squeaky car belts. Okay, so this is looking a little different. You can hear it. So we want to see a close above 91, right? And at that point, then we can see a continuation, right? And then we're going to see 94, and then maybe 101 get taken out as upwards targets. But until this closes above like 91 and retest it, I'm not really interested. I could take a long over here. I'm gonna add that to the watch list like we did with the other tickers, right? Just pop up a note. I also want to cover Filecoin Phil. Yeah, Vice Prez. All right, I'll cover Phil next. I like AVAX right now. Nice for dude. Thanks, TradingView. You got another 200 coins from TradingView. You see that? Yeah. Thank you, TradingView, for the love. I'm really enjoying streaming on here. All right, so we got AVAX. Let's do. Oh, you can even see it in the chat. All right. Let's do Filecoin. We got in this one also because somebody mentioned it on the stream. I'm very grateful for you to do that. And it's looking promising, right? Let's do the daily. I'm gonna remove drawings. Right, we're definitely seeing a break, right? A trend break. We saw a retest. We got our longs in, and now we're just waiting for the chart to start kicking some butt, right? And until we can't force it to do anything, we can just look out for levels to interact with it. You can try to force it. I'm not gonna do that. So it's not just the trend break that's interesting. If you look at this minor swing, ooh, we're right at the 61.8, 70.3. So we want to see $70 in or 69 bucks, 69, 68, $70 become support, and so we get our next run up, right? And the next run up is going to be really interesting, because then we're looking at a larger swing, and that's kind of my swing target on Phil. That's my swing target 1, because then we're going to see a bigger retracement like we did just see on Link, like we saw on Litecoin, right? So as long as we know what the market's doing in terms of Febs, things are going to kind of follow each other. And then Filecoin's a heavier runner, right? I mean, this thing went from 68 to 232 in the past. Not saying it's going to do the same thing right now, but I think if we do get that break above 69, then we're looking at 92, and that is a worthy swing for me, right? At that point, I probably want to take some profit, reassess, and then see what happens next. And then there's going to also be the next swing target, right, which is going to be like 141. So if this thing does get kicking, we just got to see that close above 69. And hey, what's up, TradingView? We're going to see that close above 69. All right, you guys from YouTube, I'm gonna cover back. I'm gonna go back to some of y'all's tickers. BPro, EQZ. Man, you guys hit me with these wrapped ether tokens. I don't trade anything that's like that personally. Yeah, this thing looks like it's bearish. Right, I rejected at the 61.8. I don't know what that is. EQZ. Sorry, Cooley, I like you as a person. I just don't like this chart. All right, this looks more interesting. It's definitely looking like it's shaping up for a break. We are above the 61.8. We're getting a close above. It's kind of doing a channel. So this looks promising, right? And the next move is going to be probably that previous high, right? 0.9, right? If you look at Link, literally looks very similar setup in terms of Fibs, right? It got close to the 61.8, and now it's actually ringing it. So back to EQZ, USD. Is that what I was just looking at? Yeah, right? So it's likely getting up to 0.9, likely. CHZ USD covering the ticker for Vice Pres on TradingView. Ooh, this looks interesting. it's looking like a, you know, I mean, somebody can look at this objectively and say, hey, it broke down. You know, on a daily chart, it looks like the uptrend's intact, and somebody can come in and say, well, no, well, it pulled up and made a new high, and then it pulled back, and it's potentially like doing a bear flag, right? So, what do we do now? I think the best thing to do is to treat it like we treated Shiba, right? I think if it gets up above 0.54, it can get up to 6.6, right? So if it gets up here above the 1.4 extension, which is 54 cents, right? And it's likely to run up to 61.8, right? And why do I say that? Almost everything that pumps. So I'm just gonna look at SHIB because it's the most recent example. That's where we shorted it, right? Look at that, man. It's so sad. Looking at something like SHIB, right? We saw this big run up and we saw this pullback, and then what happened? It retraced up to 61.8 of that swing high. So we have our swing high, right? Our sell off, our swing low, and then a bearish retracement. Why is it a bearish retracement? Price is going up because it didn't keep going up, right? It rejected a 61.8, and then we saw the sell-off continue. We saw a bounce at the 50, and then we saw the new low. So I'd look out for something like that on the previous chart. Nice. EQZ, I covered that. Backed. How do I even want to chart this? All right. I think the most optimal thing to do is take the $20 swing low, get up here, and it's holding at a 786. I'm not a fan of the 786, but I've seen some things play out at a 786, like Tesla did. I mean, backed being like a crypto token, right? I'm not talking about Tesla now. I'm talking about Tesla during COVID, right? Auto. And it probably won't look the same, but in terms of, you know, a swing, right? We have our swing low, we have our new high, and then we have our pullback, right? We have our swing low, new high, and a pullback. I believe this was a 786. So we could see continuation here. It looks interesting. I'd probably want to trade this. I want to buy calls. I want to buy like 26 calls. I like it. Good eye. Especially if crypto does keep going up, then backed can likely rally. So I'd probably do at the money calls a few weeks out and just pray for continuation, right? That's how I would treat it. What's up, Tails? All right, let's try to get some more love, you guys, on TradingView. I'm not getting very many tickers from you. YouTube participants, you're free to show me more tickers. All right, let's look at XED, BTC. I almost want to just do the streams exclusively on TradingView because it just consolidates all the love in one spot. This looks, I don't know, it looks so bearish, right? It's still rejecting at the 61.8. I mean, charts are either going to go up, do a new high, right? Or they're going to consolidate, or they're going to go down. And until it breaks above that 61.8, which is rejected a few times, right? So rejected once, rejected twice. This is the third rejection. I think until it does that, I don't see it moving up. I just don't. Thank you, TradingView. All right. Have I missed any tickers? Nobody asked about ADA, right? And I missed a buy-in on ADA because I was looking for like a bullish retracement instead of an extension retracement. And I'll cover where I made a mistake, right? I'll cover where I made my mistake. I think I wrote a thing on my Instagram today, you know, in my Instagram story, talking about you can only take charts personally. You can take charts personally, right? But the way to do it right is to realize where you messed up and not do the same mistake in the future, right? And other than that, like, you can't beat yourself up. And running this extension, right? Because it did go up. It did ADA, right? We had our swing high, we had our swing low, and then we saw this run up, and it literally rejected right at our fib target. Nice wick over here. Then it started selling off. Now, the mistake I made was I was looking for a 61.8 retracement off this move, which was very much like what typically happens, right? But we never got to 1.81. The chart found support at 1.92, which going back, right, it was retracing previous extensions, and that's kind of why I found support there, and I missed that. That would have been a really good entry for an up move. Now what's gonna happen moving forward? One of my good friends called me today. He's like, hey, like, show me how you chart ADA. So I'm just doing it for him in person right now, so he can see it on a big screen, not through his phone. I do believe 2.42, right, is a 61.8. So you want to see ADA get up there for a reassessment. I wouldn't want to long it here or short it here. I just want to wait and see if it rejects will be at 243, and yeah, so pending further notice. Vice Prez, thank you for the show. Tails, man, thank you for bringing the audience. Thanks for bringing the love. Dan, I'll cover XRP. You guys, please share these streams with your friends. You know, like, we got Algo and Phil and Litecoin I've been mentioning, and a bunch of charts. Like, it's even like stocks, right? Like, we're catching really good moves because you guys are participating and you're bringing things to my attention, and I'm covering them, and it's just amazing. So please keep sharing the streams, keep inviting friends. Get a little sip, and I'll get back in. All right. I'm gonna do BNB, and then I'll cover LCX, and we'll go back and forth, and then XRP. So BNB USD, Binance token. We've seen a nice move out of Binance. It's above the 61.8, right? Way above it. Cleared 511 and didn't really come back down. I think during like a market pullback, you know, this would be a great buy, just like I mentioned, Sol. That's how I would treat it. I'm going to extend this last move, right? Just to get extensions and see. Let me just remove everything and start there. Start big and then work my way small. And it does like this extension set, right? We saw 233 hold this support twice, right? We did see resistance turn support, kind of like a little trap over here. Distribution really into a correction. What's going on now? There's a few ways to look at this. I think if it pulls back to 602 and it holds it, I'd want to long it, right? That's just an interesting level. We do want to see resistance. We do want to see like previous Fib levels turn to support, right? And the reason I bring this up is we see what happened here, right? Like somebody buying this up move, right? Whether leveraged or not, they probably got stopped, right? That if you were to like buy an up candle, unless you have super, you know, I don't know, like you really stick to your guns, right? If you were to buy, I know if I was to like long 317 and see 226, I wouldn't be happy, right? But if we see something, oh, you guys can't see that here. So, you know, if somebody was to long 317 and then the chart dipped down to 217, it's like yeah, it's not good. But if somebody was patient enough to pick this up for the next run, they probably did well, right? So you want to wait for the retest on these Fib levels. So at this point, I'd want to like wait for 605 before like piling in, and probably want to ride it up to 7 or 814. All right, let's look at LCX BTC USD. So little data. It's one of those charts that looks like a 50-50. You know, it's cheap. The market's going up. That's like when Matic got listed, right? When Matic and Atom all got listed, the This is what it reminds me of. The initial exchange offering rush. We saw that last year, 2 years ago, 2019. It's kind of wedging, right? It's wedging. I think the market would take this token seriously. I would be more inclined to take this token seriously. I don't know anything about it until it gets up to like 47 and retests it successfully. Let's look at LCX ETH. Oh, not a possibility. I'm sorry, can't do that. Okay, let's look at Ripple. No, stay here. All right, XRP USD. Still seeing attempted continuation, just like what we did on Algo, just like we did on Phil, right? Ripple looks like it's breaking out now. Somebody mentioned it a couple of streams ago, and this is why like we are streaming 3 times a week, right? So there's continuity. Like you can check the streams one day, and if I'm, if it was right, and then you can only like have yourself to blame, or if I'm wrong, then you can blame it on me. But we did see this up spike, and I'm like, hey, like initially we don't want to just take the first break on Ripple. We want it for a sell off, and then like a day later we saw the sell off, and it was I believe it was like a 50% retracement on the smaller move. Yep, and it held a support, and now we're seeing the run continue. At this point, I want to see something like we did on Link and Litecoin, right? And I think the next target for Ripple is 1.4, right? But if it does break above, then we can say Ripple is like actually bullish, and we can start looking for the next one, which would be the next swing. And it's like 2.1, right? And if we compare it to what Link did, right, where it got close to 61.8, but it didn't the first time, and then now just today it rang it, right? So I think if we get that close above 1.34, then we're gonna see the next run up on XRP, which would be great. What do I think about AXS? I will check that. Drew Donaldson, Luna, and Sol. I covered Sol, so you're gonna have to rewind or watch the stream over. Let me cover Matic, and then we'll go over Luna. I have a Luna long. Waterboy in Discord's got one. A couple of us got in on Luna on a dip a while ago, and we're just letting it ride for now. But I'll cover the chart. Let me look at Matic. I want like a not leveraged Coinbase chart, with data. All right. Just like many other charts, right? It did ring that 61.8 on this larger swing, right? And I'm looking for Ripple to like pretty much do this move right now. But sticking to Matic, this is the Matic chart. I want to see 198 turn into support to get a continuation, right? If it doesn't, then just like I mentioned, like we traded Litecoin to the 61.8, which is probably pivotal, right? Could be pivotal and come back down. That's not a smiley, that's a down arrow. So it could be pivotal here. I would want to see it close above 1.98 to bet on further continuation. And then if we look at the levels below, we want to see like 1.72 hold as support, 1.46, and so forth. Yeah, for leveraging long, FTX is really good to leveraging anything. I covered AVAX and I covered Algo. Sheplik, you just got to rewind, my friend. I'm not going to cover tokens twice. I'm sorry. I like you. Thank you for tuning in this stream. You know what? You're a mod. I'll do it just because you got that mod ticker. We'll do it. Absolutely. All right. AVAX USD. You got to be friends with the mods on TradingView. All right. I think I had like a really nice deep dive on this. Was it the Coinbase chart? Yeah. All right. 240. So AVAX, right? Let me just clear these lines out. And the consensus was, my consensus was that we want to see a close above this minor 61.8, right? Before a close above like 91.84, right? Before we see the run up to 94 and then 101, right? Because up until it does that, then it's probably like the move to 91.84 would be like a bearish retracement before a breakdown, and you know, something like that. I think this one was one, right? Like we see this kind of move before where it goes up and it comes back, it pulls back, then it retraces up towards that high. It's on my red line and then continues down. So I want to see the close above 91.84 and then 94, and then we can see 101. All right, Algo's great. Sorry guys, if you got mod next to your name, I'm gonna take care of you. So Algo blew past our target, right? I covered this last stream, and it blew past my my 61.8, which is 2.16, and now we're just looking for the larger swing, right? If it closes above 2.16, then I'd want to see it run up to 2.76, right? Which is the next target, and it's kind of doing this like this wedge cone shape, right? All right, let me cover Luna for the YouTube stream, and then we'll do AXS. You guys, thank you for keeping the stream going. Thank you for all the ticker shells. It's so much more fun when everybody's around, everybody's engaged, and yeah, and we can get a lot more trading ideas, right, and capitalize on a lot more moves. So I appreciate everybody for tuning in and sharing the stream and contributing, right? Luna's above this extension, right? So what we're gonna do is extend this next range, which is swing high, swing low. And the reason we got into Luna, right, like down here, is it was kind of incomplete, and I said, hey, like the next target's going to be 52. And the real reason I got into Luna is because my friend who's a partner in a bank said she was buying the dip, and it was down here that she bought the dip. And then the next day I talked about it in Discord, and now we have a position, right? So now we're looking at 52, right? And as long as this holds a support, then I think, you know, the next continuation target is 70. And so it's kind of what we're betting on, what we're going for, unless we see like a minor 61.8 fail. And I'm not seeing that just yet. Every time we get a pullback, bulls just buy it back up. So ideally, we want to see a new high and then a few more run up. Shop Blake, thanks for the coins. Covered Soul, covered Matic. I think I got everybody's tickers covered except for AXS. I don't think did I cover this? It doesn't look like I did. All right. I'm going to start with this extension, right? Because this kind of gives us a schematic of where to look for support and resistance and what's next. Right? So this kind of looks incomplete in a sense if we did not get up to 171. Why didn't we get up to 171 is we can check this range and see. Yeah, it kind of looks incomplete. I think it's going to push up higher, but it's likely to like, I don't know if this retracement is going to keep happening. So the next thing to do is to isolate the continuation swing or the breakout swing and run some fibs, right? So I'm going to remove my drawings now that we have a big picture. And what we're going to do is we're going to find this breakout, right? And it's where the breakout happened, right? We got a trend line. And there's two ways to fib this, to get like a fib minor and then a major. So I like going from the breakout retest, all right? And getting that smaller 61.8, right? Which is 1.44. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drop a price label on here so we don't lose it. And then the next play on something like this, if 1.44 doesn't hold, then the next level I'd want to interact with would be the next one down, which is 1.34, right? So, and and based on that, 146. That's also the 38 retracement level, right? So it could like break down to 144, and if it holds 146, then we can see continuation, and if not, 134 is where I want to interact with. Let's look up Fun PHUN. Thank you for pivoting a little bit. Let's talk about some stocks, not just cryptos. I do like trading both assets, and it looks like I remember when this thing pumped. All the hype traders, right, were going crazy, and look at the pullback, right? What happened before the pullback? Was this a 61.8 or a 50? Man, that's savage. Not even a 50. All right. So based on this swing, right, 3.97 should hold as support, right? And if it doesn't, then this thing is likely still retracing. Before I leverage it long, right? I mean, if I wanted to bet on something, and maybe I'd bet on $3.97 or $4 calls, like in the money calls, and if it drops below, I'm out of this trade. And until we see some kind of 61.8 bearish retracement, I wouldn't want to trade this. I stay away from these things. I don't know why the term pump and dump disappeared from markets. Like, it's not even a thing anymore. People don't use it anymore. But you look at things like Shiba, right? Like, what was that? What do you think that was? Now we saw rejection at the 786, and then at the 50. Maybe we go down a little lower. I mean, he could be with Trump media, right? But I mean, is that gonna move the chart up? I mean, that was the news that moved it. All right, let's look at Coinbase ticker. Look at that, right? We saw, based on this extension, 396 was very much a valid target, right? And now we're seeing a little bit of a pullback, and we're seeing it hold above 314. Now, I was looking at like NASDAQ and ES. Let me put NASDAQ up on the side and see what stocks are doing. But I mean, if crypto is in a bullish continuation, I'd expect to see more continuation out of crypto relevant stocks, right? But also you have like the stock market and the indices, which they kind of move together. So in terms of just looking at this chart, right, 396 was a target. Why did it sell off? Bad earnings, right? So you also have things like earnings. They're not just like purely technical. And announcements and such. This looks like it was a bullish 61.8, right? So the chart pulled back, but because it held above 322, right, we can only assume that this was a bullish 61.8 retracement. So, I mean, buying the 322 dip would have been a great play, at least short term, waiting for further evaluation, right? So for now, I would say 322 support. It shouldn't break that, and if it does, then we're gonna look for, 314. It's gonna be retracing, just like ADA, right? It retraced the previous extensions, and I would look for 314 and so forth. And if this is gonna reject, right? If I'm gonna short Coinbase, which I'm not, I think looking at the 61.8 bearish retracement, right, which should be 350. So I'd wait for 350. I'm going to set alerts for 320 and 350 just for me. So because I mean, those are places I'm going to want to interact with this. If like BTC's dumping and Coinbase gets up to 350 and, Outlook's not looking great, then, I'd probably want to get some puts. Alright, you guys, I haven't gotten any more recommendations, any more tickers to look at. I'm going to look behind me and see what tickers are on my charts that I want to share. And if there's nothing, we'll probably wrap it up. Let me just check that out. Oil down, down. Yeah, I think that about covers everything. This was a pretty amazing stream. You know, I've been going for, Riot. Okay, I'll check Riot. And then we'll wrap it up. We get 2 new tickers. All right, VYG, VF, Voyager. This looks interesting. This kind of reminds me of that Ford chart, right? I think 2191 is inevitable. Right, like that's just what markets do. They like to go back to the 61.8. It's closing above the 50. 2191 is the next target, and then we can assess it. Right, like something like Ford just did the same thing, and right, it shot up past the 61.8, and then it turned into support, and now it's running. Right, so I can put them side by side, just like a 3-day. And VYGR. How do you spell that? VYGVR. VF. Sorry. I am wearing my glasses. Alright, so. Yeah, at this point, we just want to take this last swing high and then get that 61.8. So it's looking very much like Ford was at $11. So I like that. I'm going to note that. Thanks for the ticker suggest. I like it. Let's look at Riot. Riot blockchain. Looks like a compound bottom. I do think. So based on this last move, right? This was our 61.8, 63 was. So I'm going to call that the next zero. That's where this next move started. And I think get up to 50, right? I think get up to 50, which would be my next target on Riot is 50. I don't see a reason to reject below unless like we don't get above 44. By we, I mean the chart. I'm trying to be one with the chart. All right, I'll look at Anchor and then I'll wrap it up. You guys kept me on stream for an hour. I was going for 30-minute streams, but you know, I'm glad everybody's participating, and yeah. I see a pennant, right? I see a pennant. I see a triangle, right? And that tells us that momentum's building, right? We did see the initial rejection of 154. And that's why I always like to target the 61.8, right? It's just like where markets are most efficient. It just is. And that's off the major swing. So if I pop it down one, right, and then maybe even this last one, it's still below a 61.8. What about here? This one's tricky. Let's go into like an hourly and see what's happening in the short term. It looks like a good long. It looks like a good long entry, especially because it's like coming off support on decent bullish candles. I'm gonna note Anchor too. Maybe we can get in on a long on this. And Delilah's got some good picks. I mean, all our other tickers are flying. So, Delilah, thank you for tuning into the streams and sharing some of your tickers. I really appreciate it. All right. That's from all my heart. It came off monotone, but it's from all my heart. See, I think this looks intact for now. And the next target, I'm gonna highlight 2 targets before getting crazy bullish on this. I think like 1.46 could be a rejection zone, and then 1.5. But if it closes above that, or 0.15, if it closes above these red lines, then we should see a run. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks for all the love. Thanks for all the suggestions, all the tickers. We had an amazing stream. It was fire. Even streamed longer than I wanted to, but it's great. The longer you guys keep me engaged, the longer I'm on. And yeah, any questions, or if you want to like our opinion when we're not streaming, which is 24 hours a day, we're on Discord. You can wiggle your way there from the links on TradingView to Discord, and you can catch up with me and the team and everybody else at Coin Observatory. Other than that, thank you guys. Trade safe, and I'll catch you same time on Friday. So noon Eastern,